again, maybe I'm not looking enough. Because mind you, like, obviously I'm like involved with Manchester Jazz Festival. And then still maybe I'm not looking hard enough.
Okay. Jazz musicians need to shine a light on yourselves and get in the spotlight a bit more, please.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people will resonate with this and maybe have been through this experience, and I guess it's nice for them to see that they're not the only ones. So thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. Really enjoyed this.
It's been a pleasure.
Hey, this is Jennifer Dala, and you're listening to After the Applause.
This is After the Applause. Hi guys, welcome back to After the Applause. My name is Saoirse Marie, and this is a podcast highlighting and platforming underground artists, events, everything grassroots within the north of England. This is episode 30, which to me is absolutely crazy. I can't believe we've done 30 episodes on the podcast already, and we just keep leveling up and doing better and better. And this week, we've got quite a different take on an artist's journey and an artist's phase within their career. On today's episode, I was joined by Jennifer Dala, who is currently in the experimental phase and discovery phase of her musical journey. Jennifer Dala was raised in Austria and moved to the UK in her teens. She's recently just moved back to Manchester after living in Leeds for the past couple of years, where her original sound was quite folk influenced with all of the live music within the area. And currently she's taking a bit of a break from putting music out there and being consistent with her music, just to take some time back for herself. And I think that this phase within your career, when you do take that break to realign yourself and find your identity again, is really crucial within your journey. And I think it's great that we were able to have a conversation about this phase in her journey, and that she was able to express how she was feeling so openly. Because again, it's not the positive trajectory everyone always talks about. You always talk to artists about all the good and everywhere they're going in life, but you never really discuss what's happening in the here and now. So I think that was really nice to be able to talk to Jennifer about that. So we discuss the current phase she's in her musical journey. We discuss a little bit about the music scene within Leeds and Manchester, and what she is learning and discovering, and what she's learning and discovering about herself during her music journey. This is Jennifer Dala. What was the first gig you ever went to?
First gig I ever went to. I think as a child, there were definitely like these festivals, outdoor festivals that they have, but I wouldn't remember the artists. But in Manchester, the first gig I went to was a Gold Link concert.
No way.
Yeah, it was at, I think, Albert Hall.
Okay.
Yeah. Mind you, I bought the tickets off someone on Twitter. So this is my first time buying concert tickets, right? And I'm thinking, is this a scam? Like, me and my sister, we went there and we were like, this is gonna be so embarrassing if we get, if they don't let us in. Yeah, we managed to get in. And I think we only got them for like £15 each, like, because we bought them off someone. Yeah, no, definitely not. But yeah, it was really nice. I really enjoyed it.
You're currently in a phase where you're experimenting and kind of discovering your sound again. So how would you describe your earlier sound?
My earlier sound, I think it was like indie alternative in a way. The sound was similar to artists like Baba Doobie. I don't know if you know her. Yeah. Baba Doobie. But also at the same time, the band that's called Evanescence, I think. Effervescence, I think. Okay. I think also like that kind of more a bit rocky alternative side. It was like, yeah, a blend between that, really. But it was really just me and guitar. So, nothing really layered. But I've recently been thinking of including some of my earlier songs into my sets again. Well, again, I've never really included them before. So but I was like, why have I completely like abandoned these songs?
So you're originally from Austria and you moved to the UK. How was that transition from Europe to the UK for you?
The transition was not easy at all. I think I really struggled to assimilate. Yeah, it was hard. That's, I think, how I developed like social anxiety, because it was just a lot. And I think that has impacted me as a person till this day. Although I'm doing a lot better as an adult now, but I think that sense of like alienation is a feeling that I still feel a lot of times. And also it's something that I guess I channel in my music as well. I think it sticks with you, that sense of like not belonging, really, not feeling like you really belong. And I think I am quite sensitive to rejection as well. So yeah, that was just really hard, really.
With having moved to the UK, you've lived in Manchester, you've lived in Leeds. How do the music scenes between these two cities compare for you?
I don't feel like I can speak on, I can make a judgment on the music scenes, because I'm not like that experienced in the scene. I've lived in Leeds for like 2 years, and even then I wasn't very active in the scene, if that makes sense. I was just establishing myself. But from my experience, it was a lot more like, well, maybe I've just not found that scene here in Manchester yet, but in Leeds, it was very like jazzy. There was a thriving jazz scene and also folk music. So, like people with instruments and stuff. And from here in Manchester, it's what I have been exposed to. I guess it's more R&B and hip hop that I'm seeing. I've not really found like a jazz scene. Again, maybe I'm not looking enough. Because mind you, like obviously I'm like involved with Manchester Jazz Festival. And then still maybe I'm not looking hard enough.
Okay. Jazz musicians need to shine a light on yourselves and get in the spotlight a bit more, please.
Yeah.
You're kind of still in a phase where you're establishing yourself as a musician and discovering your sound. Currently, how would you describe where you are in your musical journey?
Like my sound at the moment is a blend between folk, soul, jazz, and indie. So it's a blend between all things, really. Not all things, but a lot. And I think I've come to this point because when I was in Leeds, I was collaborating with a folk guitarist. And then I was adding like a bit of a soulful, jazzy element with my vocals. So it was just kind of a blend between that. And I really came to really like the sound, and it's still a sound I want to further explore now. But also I also want to delve back into the more alternative stuff. But I think I want to do that. I want to collaborate more when it comes to that. For some reason, I just feel like, yes, there's some artists I would want to collaborate with to explore that sound more.
You're kind of blending quite a range and style of sounds together.
Yeah.
What or who is your inspiration for these sounds and these blends?
So Joni Mitchell is definitely one of my influences. I only discovered her in the pandemic, but I really fell in love with her album Blue. And it's just like her vocals, her style of singing, and her songwriting is just amazing. Yeah, so definitely Joni Mitchell, but of course also Amy Winehouse. Yeah, I love Amy, love Amy. artists like Willow Smith as well, Frank Ocean, I guess, as well. I guess artists that I have been compared to are artists like Tracy Chapman and Arlo Parks. And even recently, this is my own opinion, but like the most recent song that I wrote, I'm hearing some like Green Tea Peng influence and some Little Sims influence as well.
Both incredible artists.
I know it's not really rapping, but it is a bit, my cadence is a bit, so it's not very singy. It's, it's
like spoken word maybe?
Yeah. So I think that's where I'd say that influence comes from.
Mm-hmm. You're currently in a transition where you're discovering your musical sounds, and we've spoken about this off camera, that you're kind of giving yourself a bit of time and space just to discover yourself and experiment and kind of have a bit more freedom and not rushing yourself to put music out and make music. What has instigated this for you at the moment?
So when I was in Leeds, I experienced some setbacks. I'm just going to describe it as that. And when I first experienced that, there was a desire to just quickly be like, no, I have to like overcome this. I have to hustle. I wanted to even put myself out there even more to kind of catch up on the setback. Mm-hmm. I just had a moment then when I was like, no, I need to allow myself to just be present with everything that is happening and give myself time to process everything. And I think it's something that is still affecting me till this day. But also I think it, in a way, I guess I am grateful for the experience and that I'm just allowing myself to breathe right now, take my time discovering my sound and the music scene here in Manchester. Because it's really no rush, really. There's no. I don't see the point of rushing, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. I think we can get very caught in like the outcome that we're hoping for, but I think there's a lot of valuable lessons that can be learned along the way, and I think it's important to just stay present for that.
During this process and this stage that you're at in your musical journey, what's something that you've learned about yourself or about you as an artist?
Answer it a bit differently. I think maybe just like lessons I have learned along my journey in general. So I'd say put yourself out there, or don't overthink things. Overthinking is something I still do a lot now, but I think just go, don't procrastinate. Yeah, just start doing. Really, it doesn't have to be perfect. And also stay true to yourself, be authentic, in also the way that you show up in connections that you make with people here in the industry as well.
That kind of ties into the next question I have for you, which was, like you said, I think a lot of people do have those phases where they need to just take a moment, take a step back to discover themselves and maybe rediscover themselves. Because I think, especially when you're in the scene and you're seeing all these people doing so many things, you put a lot more pressure on yourself to kind of get things done and keep going, and you maybe lose yourself a little bit and lose your identity as a musician. So I think it's really great that you're allowing yourself time and space to process and really kind of figure out what you want for yourself. So my question for you is, if there's anyone listening out there that's listening to this podcast that is kind of feeling the same way as you are, but is a bit scared and feels a bit of pressure that they need to just keep going and keep pushing on because of everything else or all the people they're comparing themselves to, what advice would you give them to kind of allow them to just take a step back and settle?
It's important not to compare yourself to other people. And I'm still very guilty of that. But just remembering that everybody's journey is different. Yeah, you're not falling behind. Everybody's timing is different. Yeah, I don't know. There's some people who have been putting music out there for decades, and then it will take a decade for them to finally make it. And then for others, it's like, you put out this one single and that's all that it takes, really. So I don't know. It's just, I think just be present in your journey. It's, as I said, there's a lot of valuable lessons that can be learned, and the journey is just as important as the end goal, whatever that is for you, really.
Since you've moved back to Manchester, you have actually released a song, Belonging, and you've performed in Manchester. I've seen you perform at Inner Ink.
Yeah.
And this is all since moving back to Manchester, which you've only done in the past 6 months. How has all of that been whilst you're in this phase of kind of rediscovering yourself, putting yourself out there and performing and putting music out there? How's that experience been for you?
Putting music out there is something I've wanted to do for the longest time, really, already in the pandemic. And it's interesting because Belonging was not a song I would have really thought as like, the first song I want to put out there. It was all just about kind of logistics when it comes to things. It was just like a song that was suitable to record at the time. So it was just the only song that I really had fully like recorded and everything. And so I decided I want to put that out there. So Belonging is a song inspired about, as I mentioned previously, my experiences of feeling alienated, not feeling like I belong. And I think that song kind of captures it quite well. Has a bit of a depressing ending, but that's me also. Just a warning, my music is a bit depressing. I don't know.
Raw, let's say that. That's a better word.
Because I don't know what vibe I'm giving right now, but it's just like, I just need to let you know, my music is a bit depressing, but it is what it is. So, yeah.
It gets you in your feels. If you're feeling in your feels, you listen to Jennifer Dala.
Yeah. And I'm very grateful for all the support that I have received, really. Performing at Inna is such a great collective, I guess, is what they're called. And shout out to Jamie, really. Like, he's doing such a great job with that. It felt very welcoming. Like, that being my first gig here in Manchester was a really great experience because everybody was just so supportive, and it was very nerve-wracking to me, but people were just really supportive. The energy was just warm and nice, and it makes you feel like you are part of it, of the Inner family, as I think they call it. I felt like I was embraced, really, if that makes sense, which was a good experience to have, being the first gig in Manchester.
How would you describe your sound currently?
I think I'm still in the a bit alternative indie, but also a blend of indie and then soul and jazz. Still, I think I want to discover my soulful and jazzy side more. Okay. I have some ideas that I want to really just experiment with. And I think I will say, I feel that like as a Black artist, I guess I was priding myself in making alternative music when I first started, because I was just like, I guess, I'm not going the route that is expected of me. And I loved doing it. It wasn't for the sake of being rebellious. It was just something that I felt very resonated with me. Just slowly discovering that soul and jazz is actually also something that I very much enjoy. And that's something that I'm just, I guess, embracing more. That's a sound I want to definitely discover more.
Do you have any future plans at the moment? What's on the horizon for Jennifer Dala?
Do I have any future plans? I don't.
For now, you're just continuing discovering and figuring things out.
Yeah, I think recording some music and creating some more stuff. I think for me, creating is so important for me right now because it just feels like, it's just like a release, Well, that's how it is for me, when there's an ideas that you have, and creating them and bringing my ideas to life is what is very important to me right now.
How can we keep up to date with what you're doing? How can listeners, viewers, if they enjoyed hearing about your journey and they want to watch your journey, how can they stay up to date?
You can follow me on Instagram. That's Jennifer Dala, JenniferDala. And you can also find my debut single on Spotify and other streaming platforms. I believe it's on Apple Music and other places as well.
I think you can tell throughout this episode that Jennifer was just completely open and so willing to share this part of her journey. And I think that to be able to kind of expose yourself and expose this phase that not really anyone talks about is a very vulnerable side. And I am really, really grateful to Jennifer for showing that vulnerability to all of us on the podcast. The one thing that really resonated with me throughout the whole interview that I think Jennifer kept touching on was the fact that you need to enjoy the whole journey towards your final goal, towards your destination. And the fact that she really is just enjoying where she is currently and just figuring her music out, figuring her identity out through all of that. I think that if you do have this tunnel vision and you just focus on the end goal and how you're getting there, and you don't take the time to kind of sit back and embrace where you are right now and what it is taking you to get to that destination, to get to that final goal, you'll miss all of the opportunities and all of the good things that come with getting to that final destination, all the lessons you learn along the way as well. You'll just completely be blindsided by all of that. And I think that's what is really nice to hear about Jennifer and this phase of her music journey. It was quite interesting to hear the variety of influences on her music style and people she's been compared to. It's a mixture of current artists and previous artists, which kind of gives you the idea that maybe her music is quite timeless. And I know from listening to her, her vocals are incredible. When I saw her perform at Inner Ink, and I've listened to her track Belonging, and yeah, they are very timeless vocals, and I think that the music that she's aiming to create with her style is timeless. I really hope that this episode did resonate with you, no matter what stage of your music career or creative career or life journey you're at. It is okay to take a break from it sometimes and just take a step back and realign yourself and figure out who you are again, because sometimes when we do take these career paths, whether creative or not, we do get a little lost on the way, and it is quite good to come back and realign yourself and refocus and center yourself and figure out where you want to go next, or figure out what you want to do that will allow you to stay true to you and your identity. So I hope that this episode resonated with you in some sort of way, as I definitely felt seen. Thank you so much to Jennifer Dala for coming on the podcast and sharing this phase of your music career with everyone. I think a lot of people will resonate with it, and I hope you all enjoyed this episode. I'll leave in the description links to Jennifer's socials so you can go check out her stuff, and a link to her track Belonging, and keep up to date with what Jennifer has got coming up over the next couple of years. Appreciate you all for tuning in as always. Please subscribe, follow, like, comment wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching. Let me know where you're watching from as well, or listening from. It's quite interesting to see who, what and where are tuned in. But I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you all next week on After the Applause. Bye.